Hello and welcome to another modelling video. It is Alan here from Economan at YouTube, and I'm proud to do my review on the HGUC Juaggu. As you all could probably tell now that I'm a massive fan of this fairly large mobile suit and been well aware of it for a fairly long amount of time. It's appeared in quite a bit of artwork, video games and manga, though we haven't quite seen it in this series until Unicorn. I was really excited when the HGUC kit did get announced, though at the same time extremely skeptical, as HGUC is the pinnacle of technology within the Bandai sect. They have screwed up some kits in proportions and taken away their old school feel for articulation and gimmick. I believe the Double Zeta and the Duration is a big case of this. At the same time, things like the Ball and the Zakuto F2 are just absolutely brilliant. A lot of people may find this kit fairly ugly or confused about its existence. It is a specially designed mobile suit for a larger combat situation. It's a mid-range support. Think of it like your Xeon version of the gun cannon, and really isn't a one-on-one combat thing with anything from Project V. So if you really got a massive collection of Xeon suit and you want something to just bring it out and give it a nice old school MSV feel, this kit could be for you. But first we're going to have to get into the review. As you can see, I've got all the Starring Kits version of this model, the 1:144 original, and the half-scale one which was released a few years ago. Let's get straight into it. A very well presented box with a high gloss, very similar to the real grades. Late in the HGUC series, this kit retails at 1,700 yen. I'm really intrigued at this stage. Cracking open the box, I was met with a lot of goodies, which made my $20-something investment worthwhile. The instructions are also very nicely printed with a lot of photos and colour pictures, a lot like a catalogue, and some demonstrations. Plenty of information, unfortunately all printed in Japanese characters, with the instructions being extremely clear and thorough on how you build it. Followed by 5 coloured runners and 2 polycaps, an exact length of single core low voltage wire, foil stickers, and inside the yellow bag, a pre-cut visor on a clear plastic sheet, and stickers. Looking at the older kit, it's a lot smaller than the HGUC, and its good condition is because this is the reprint from the 90s. This kit is 10 years older than that. Retailing at an extremely reasonable 500 yen, this fairly good looking but assumingly low articulated kit isn't too bad. The instructions look alright, and the proportions look faithful to the original line art. The pieces are cast in a light brown across 3 runners and is not a snap kit. Comparing the headpieces between the new and old kit, you can see the new kit has not taken any initiative from the old design and does not resemble it in shape and size. This is going to be a lot larger kit as well. The half scale is a snap kit and is a lot more simpler with parts being combined, also across 3 runners. Here is the snapped model. I'm not going to do any more to him for a little while now. I have to say I am extremely impressed with the build. It is worth the name of HGUC. Not a lot to complain about. The articulation is amazing. I'll soon get into that. But first, the aesthetics and how I feel about it. The colour breakdown is absolutely amazing. If you're to pull it apart to airbrush, you won't have much problems. There's only 2 areas you may want to mask or hand paint. Construction was just a ton of fun. There's all sorts of fantastic gimmicks. But unfortunately, it completely ignores the original kit, which is not surprising, but the biggest indication is on the instructions and manual. It clearly says it's the Unicorn version, so the version that was depicted in the show. The arms, I feel, are extremely fat, the missile launchers are shortened, and the arm and shoulders are just massively fat. The mystery being removed of having tiny little missiles within the cannons, like so, isn't what quite I'd imagine. It is a lot larger, though Bandai has sculpted a lot of their Xeon amphibious suits to be bigger. And the leg or feet detail is a little more modernized. Mind you, due to all the pros, this can be easily fixed. This is definitely a kit that does need a lot of work to give it your own personal flair, because I believe the finished results here is too close to someone else's ideal interpretation. The little clear plastic in the eye window is a very nice touch. It's fairly cheap material. And around the torso and head has interior detail mimicking the master grades, like a lot of amphibious Xeon suits also do. Once the head is removed, you can move the mono eye around. The trunk is extremely neat with lifting articulation. This is by a single core copper insulated wire strapped around in the head, as you've seen during the construction process. The arms got all sorts of posable maneuverability with the polycaps and the way that you can pose the cannons. That is extremely cool. And things like underfeet detail, fantastic articulation, and extra joint and movement where you would not necessarily expect. Now, not to make everything sound fantastic, because there is a few flaws. At some of the more unusual junctions and parts, there are a little bit of flash that will need to be sanded up. You will notice them during the construction process. It was very quick to get rid of with some coarse sandpaper, then some wet and dry. Seam lines on the arm, shoulders and leg, which isn't a problem to fill. Circular shapes always have this. The top shoulder bit may be a bit tough to do, so that's just going to have to be left as is. Though points for actually one pieces for the barrel, so no seams there. But the absolute biggest flaw, and if you build this correctly you shouldn't have too much of a problem, but during the construction of the head with the layer of the wire, it's very easy not to have everything snug and clicked in tight following the instructions. And the little join between the bottom of the faceplate and the top will have a gap, and the gap will be quite prominent, particularly where the pieces underneath are black and the mask parts are white. To resolve that, you're going to have to be very careful in your modelling, and when you're doing final assembly you probably want to put some wood or white glue in there to make sure it's clamped together very, very nicely. Now, for the lovely decals, you do get a marking guide and a paint guide for the Goonsey paints. Mimicking the positions on the box art and instructions are very, very easy to do, proving the fantastic articulation of this. And a prominent polycap that can be used to add to an action base. It doesn't come with a cover, being the same colour as the thrusters. I don't know if they're trying to pass it off as another thruster, but it's not too much of a problem when it's standing up. As my final conclusion, I highly recommend this build. It is a lot of fun. It not necessarily is faithful, but it's not pretending to be. To tell the truth, to convert it would be very, very labour intensive, but not a lot of skill is required. could be a very fun process, being how easily this guy comes together and how modular he is. Painting him will be an absolute cinch, and no matter what, he looks absolutely grouse. An absolute massive improvement from the original, though I wish it did keep some of its proportions. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, definitely make this guy one of your projects, and let's hope Bandai keeps doing the old MSV rehashes. See you later.